So, I just spent the past few hours watching trailers, gameplay footage, and reading articles about Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I've got to say, am I missing something, or does this at least look promising? Even when ignoring the discourse about race and religion that is not really my place to speak on, this game's reputation online seems to be terrible. Be it YouTube comments, Twitter posts, or Reddit threads, any positive mention of the game is either weirdly defensive or immediately met with vehement disagreement. However, rarely is the ensuing discussion about the content presented. Content which, from the looks of it, could make for the most engaging AC experience in a while. Of course, I won't pretend that there aren't any legitimate concerns or good reasons not to be as thrilled about the game as I am, that go beyond the game itself. In fact, there are three that I'm going to briefly touch on. First off, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed twice. Delays can occur for a variety of reasons, and Ubisoft claims theirs was to implement changes based on feedback from playtesters and to ensure a smooth day one experience. Considering the franchise's problems with releasing games too early and having a less than smooth day one experience in the past, I don't mind them taking the extra time to make sure this doesn't repeat itself and to add to the game based on community feedback. However, two delays are still a valid concern. Another is the aforementioned publisher, Ubisoft. Need I say more? Just focusing on the latest AAA releases, the publisher's track record has been mixed to say the least, both within and outside of the Assassin's Creed franchise. Skull and Bones deservedly bricked, and Star Wars Outlaws' reception was just kind of muted, but neither of those share developers with AC Shadows. What concerns me more is the game's relation to previous entries, which we will talk about later. Finally, the standard edition of Assassin's Creed Shadows would cost me €70 or $90 for the special edition. The game is a collector's version as well, and will contain microtransactions. Furthermore, the DLC will not be free unless I pre-order the game. Yeah, I'm not planning on doing any of that if I can help it. Hilariously, this is overall cheaper than I expected, but as much as I like what the promotional material tells me about the game, I'm not going to move away from my AAA release principles of never pre-ordering or buying enhanced editions, not engaging with microtransactions in a single-player game, and not buying DLCs before I've completed the main story. Sorry Ubisoft, I hope the NFT money cushions the blow a little. Now, all of that is outside of the actual content of the game. Time to explain what is inside that has got me, personally, sold at a discount. About the game, starting with its selling point and by far most important feature, one AC game, two heroes. One duo, two playstyles. Shadow's dual protagonists are the center of the game's marketing, Yasuke and Naoe, who are a samurai and a shinobi respectively. I don't think I need to explain what they're trying to do here, but allow me to do so anyway. After almost a decade of Assassin's Creed games with pretty much the same gameplay formula, 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins and the following two mainline Assassin's Creed games played a lot differently, opting for an open-world RPG approach and gaining millions of new players, but also alienating many fans of the old ways in the process. Skipping to today, Ubisoft is trying to unite both of these player bases within one release, ahead of many other entries they already announced, widening the scope for even more players to check out the company's flagship franchise. Assassin's Creed Shadows marks the beginning of this new era, a first step I believe is crucial to get right. This is the core of what interests me so much about the game, this mission, and the potential impact of succeeding or failing it, but also the fact that it looks like they're succeeding? On the gameplay front, the modern style offered a playstyle that encouraged direct confrontation, by supplying the player with a variety of weapons with different functions based on range, speed, and power. Prolonged combat would also fill up a segmented meter that you could spend on powerful abilities acquired through either exploration or just the basic skill tree. Does Yasuke meet those requirements? It appears so, as he comes equipped with a kanabo, a heavy mace-type weapon, a katana, and a bow, as well as special abilities. There's also footage of him using a naginata and a gun. While older AC games didn't leave players helpless in direct combat, in fact allowing them to dispatch of most enemies in two well-timed button presses, they still emphasized a more subtle approach to it. The focus was on parkour, stealth, and, most importantly, assassination. Naoe, armed with the classic hidden blade, a grappling hook, various tools, the ability to go prone, and the classic eagle vision which Yasuke doesn't have, seems to be perfectly suited for the job. What she does not have herself, however, is the ability to assassinate every enemy in one hit. It can be enabled in the setting, but by default, assassination is an ability of hers she can increase the potency of in her skill tree. This, admittedly, is a bit awkward, considering what the developers are trying to do with this game, and speaks to a misunderstanding about how to balance assassination and what makes it difficult in the first place. However, any major targets will likely drop in a single assassination anyway. Speaking of set targets, the gameplay differences of the two protagonists speak to different ideals and naturally set up an intriguing dynamic between Yasuke and Naoe. This might be a great time to bring up the Fry Twins, Ubisoft's first attempt at having two-player characters from all the way back in 2015's Assassin's Creed Syndicate. They were also not always on the same page and preferred different approaches to combat. That being said, the Fry Twins were twins. They were raised together, fight for the same cause, and their squabbles don't really go anywhere since both their goals needed to be accomplished anyway. Yasuke and Naoe started on different sides of a conflict. They fight in the story trailer, and then end up working together without much of an explanation, for now at least. The setup couldn't be more interesting if it tried. The guy Yasuke is working with in the beginning could make for a great villain as well. I do hope for more than one or two well-developed villains in this game, however. Modern HD games, especially Odyssey, suffered from the main villain being the head of an organization consisting of 50 targets and developing only a few of them, leaving players to essentially cut down faceless NPCs neither they nor the characters they were playing as had any connection to. Assassin's Creed 3 had Connor hunt down the guys who burned down his village and killed his mother in the process, alongside his father, who they used to work for and who he also had to kill afterwards. AC Origins had Bayek track and ruthlessly murder his son's killers, who also belonged to a secret order plaguing the land while attempting to seize control using ancient technology. Assassin's Creed stories always combine personal tragedy with systemic injustice, and I want both of these aspects to be explored in as much detail as possible, and the trailers do show both for Yasuke and Naoe, as much as a 2.5-minute trailer and some developer commentary can anyway. Assassin's Creed Shadows is still an open-world RPG and is therefore going to retain newer aspects of exploration, as well as a leveling system for enemies and gear, which can be looted from fortified locations. There's also mounts, uncoverable side quests, and new to the franchise, different seasons. All good for Yasuke to engage with, although I'm not sure if I like that Naoe interacts with the leveling system and skill trees and abilities in particular. On the traditional front, the ability to recruit people returns and alarm bells are back in restricted territories. Personally, I'm curious about the hideout, a whole area serving as a base of operations, somewhat similar to the village in Valhalla, but with more player freedom to design and place different buildings in different locations. It will also contain areas to upgrade gear, create more safe houses across Japan, and boosting experience gain and other various stats. In an article published by Ubisoft on this feature, the developers talk about how they are trying to one-up all previous iterations of the hideout with this one, an ambitious endeavor I really want to see the results of. For a AAA game, this level of quality is to be expected. That being said, the game looks great. There's a reason most trailers for this game are just cinematic angles, because those really speak for themselves. However, I don't really care for graphics, and I can still not speak on whether they got the Japanese culture representation right, so the only thing I really care about here is the seasons. Playing as different characters during different times of the year affects enemy placement, among other things, in an intersection of visuals and gameplay that I really hope is expanded on in interesting ways in the final game. In my opinion, there's a lot to look forward to in this game, but more importantly, I look forward to the game's impact. Whether it drowns in controversy and mediocre execution and flops, or if it succeeds in appealing to both stealth and combat enthusiasts and ushering in a new era of the franchise. By the time this video releases, the game will have as well, so I guess all that's left is seeing for myself and following up on this in my next video.